Today is the first Sunday of Advent, and the theme for today and for this week is hope. Today I want to begin talking about hope for about a week during this first week of Advent. I hope you saw the introduction yesterday in which I announced and explained what I want to do for the next 24 days during these days of Advent leading up to Christmas. You can always go back and see that. I'm going to talk about some of the additional symbols, and if you note, one difference today is that there's a burning candle right in front of me. I had all four yesterday, but none were lit. And I want you to pay attention to this tree right here, which you might think, oh, that's a Christmas tree. And sure, Christmas trees do look like that. But I'm calling it a different kind of tree, and I'll tell you the name of it a little bit later. There's something a little special about this particular type of Christmas tree. In the Bible, in the Old Testament, there's a book called the Book of Isaiah, named after the prophet who received the revelations from God about many future events, and especially about the future Messiah who would be coming. In Isaiah 11 is one particular passage which we call a messianic passage, which contains what I call a messianic motif, and it's poetry. Much of Isaiah is poetry. Much of it is related to Advent and to Christmas and to all the many promises that God has made to the world, but also certain judgments. This one in Isaiah 11 is about something called the righteous branch. Let me read it. There shall come forth a shoot from the stump of Jesse, and a branch from his roots shall bear fruit. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. And his delight shall be in the fear of the Lord. He shall not judge by what his eyes see, or decide disputes by what his ears hear, but with righteousness he shall judge the poor, and decide with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he will kill the wicked. Righteousness shall be the belt of his waist, and faithfulness the belt of his loins. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the young goat, and the calf and the lion and the fattened calf together. And a little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall graze, their young shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. The nursing child shall play over the hole of a cobra, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the adder's den. They shall not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. In that day the root of Jesse, who shall stand as a signal for the peoples, of him shall the nations inquire, and his resting place shall be glorious. There's so many things to be said about this passage from Isaiah 11, 1 through 10. And if you're familiar with the oratorio by George Handel called The Messiah, you would recognize some of this text, some of the refrains of this prophetic poem, because it speaks of the future Messiah and it speaks of his coming. Now, he came once 2,000 years ago, and the world did not recognize him. We'll talk more about him as his life unfolded and became more and more attractive and spectacular, even unto the final days. But he shall come again one day, and that's why the Bible says there's hope. That's why Isaiah says there is hope. The world is on a timeline, and God has certain goals for the world and for the universe. He has certain things that he wants to accomplish. And he wants to accomplish those things because of hope. Now, hope is a magnificent idea that I want to talk much more about, but to introduce it today, hope is something that everybody wants. As I said in my Sunday school class this morning in this very room, hope is something that you can't measure, you can't weigh it, you can't test it, you can't contain it in a test tube. There's no way to quantify or make hope tangible except perhaps through the subjects, which are human beings, who have hope or who want hope and pursue hope. That's why this particular candle is lit. This is the hope candle for the first Sunday in Advent. The whole world yearns for hope, and sometimes we get hopeless. We feel that there is no hope to be had, and yet we believe that such a thing as hope exists. That's what I call existential realism. We can know hope exists because everyone in the world wants it and pursues it and will take every measure to lay hold of hope. And sometimes we need to give hope or share hope with other people that have less reason for hope. And there are many conflicts and wars and privations in the world that cause people to lose hope, at least temporarily. But Christ was sent into the world, the fulfillment of this messianic prophecy, to bring hope, to fulfill the human pursuit and longing for hope. This is why the Christ child was given to Joseph and Mary. Now, on my right, as I said, is what we call, ready? A Jesse tree. A Jesse tree is a special tree. A Christmas tree can double as a Jesse tree, but what makes this a Jesse tree is the ornaments. Here you have a ram, such as the ram that was caught in the thicket when Abraham almost sacrificed his son, and the ram was the substitute. Here you have a lion, the lion of the tribe of Judah, which is what is spoken of the Messiah. Here you have an apple, which should remind you of the story of the beginning of Adam and Eve. There are other types of ornaments you can put on a tree. Here are several different ones. One contains a picture of the 2 stone tablets upon which God wrote the 10 Commandments. And the other is again the apple, this time with the serpent. We could hang these on the Jesse tree. And if you do one per day, by the end of Advent, you will have 24 ornaments on the Jesse tree, each one depicting one of the stories on the salvation plot line, which leads to hope, which exists for hope. God is a God of hope, and the Messiah is a Messiah of hope. That's all for today. I hope that you have hope, or that you will look for hope in Jesus.